So this is a great technique for loud and dynamic recordings. We're going to use panning to give specific parts of the lyrics an extra wide and impactful sound. And the first thing is you got to multi-track at least 3 vocal tracks. So let's take a listen here. This is a unreleased track that I'm editing, currently working on right now by my hip-hop group Grandmasters.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, let us introduce you to the. Dear ladies and gentlemen, let us introduce you to the. Ladies and gentlemen, let us introduce you to the. One time, one time, one time. Yeah, we the Grandmasters. Feel it from my head to the floor. Yeah, I'm a Grand M-A-S-T-E-R. Yeah, I'm a Grand M-A-S-T-E-R. One time, one time, one time. Yeah, we the Grandmasters, and I feel it through to my core. Yeah, I'm a Grand M-A-S-T-E-R. Yeah, I'm a Grand M-A-S-T-E-R. One time, one time, one time. Yeah, we the Grandmasters. Repping on the stage like.
All right, cool. So we're going to have one of the vocals from each of the sets be in the middle, and then we're going to pan one to the right, and then we're going to pan one to the left. We've got a pre-chorus here beforehand, and we've got a chorus here on the second half. We get 2 very different dynamics. We got this softer section, kind of some island guitar with some bongos, and then the second half where this is like the chorus section, we get a full proper drum beat. And so dynamically, we're going to want to split this into 2 levels, and we're going to use, the beat already does this, and so we're going to want to just mimic this with the vocals. We're just going to pick what parts need to be really dynamic and what parts can maintain just a one single vocal recording, and we're just going to delete the stuff that we don't need to keep.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, let us introduce you to the. Dear ladies and gentlemen, let us introduce you to the. Ladies and gentlemen, let us introduce you to the. One time, one time, one time. Yeah, we the Grandmasters.
And then when it gets to the point where it says, we the Grandmasters, that's the chorus. So what I'm thinking here is that everything before we the Grandmasters, I would like to, well, before we delete it, we'll just mute it. But I would like to hear if that works with just one vocal. I think it will. And we'll just cut out the extras.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, let us introduce you to the. Dear ladies and gentlemen, let us introduce you to the. Ladies and gentlemen, let us introduce.
Yep, let's do it. Committing. Cut it out. So now we've separated the pre-chorus from the chorus in terms of dynamic. And now the next thing we need to do is we need to align the timing. So when we're double tracking or triple tracking these parts, if we zoom in here, you can see, change my grid to a smaller amount so we can see all the different grid lines. You can see that not each one of these words doesn't quite start at the same time as the other ones, and that's going to change how impactful those doublings are. So I'm going to go through with slip mode here, which allows you to select any point in time, and then with keyboard focus on this little button here in the top right, I'm going to be using the B key on my keyboard, the letter B, and also the greater sign and the less than sign, or a comma and period, it's the same key, to separate those and then move them to the left or the right respectively. So I'm clicking, pressing the letter B, now it separates that clip. We'll select the end of that line here, and now this is its own clip. And now I'm pressing the greater than sign or the comma key, and I'm able to just nudge that over to the left, and now the timing on those things is perfect. Drag that across on the bottom half, give it a little crossfade so that there's no clicking or popping, and then now let's do the same thing on the bottom one. And this is basically, I'm going to repeat this across all 6 of these tracks. The top one, because that's like our lead, we're just going to have these secondary ones that are panned to the left and the right, duplicating that exact timing to help give it that extra impact. So I'm going to go ahead and do that boring part here real quick. I'm going to get through it as fast as I can, and then we will move on. Joseph's vocal here, he took some really big deep breaths in his recording, and I'll just go ahead and like get rid of those. At least on the double track, one breath is okay, though we do want to turn it down. You get a little volume button here, volume knob here for the clip. So I'll just bring that down by about 10 dB. That's like reducing the volume by 50%. Same as always, little crossfade, and then we're good to go. All in all, I spent about 10 to 15 minutes going through that whole 8-bar section. And the difference was that instead of sounding like we had 6 vocals on the chorus, we now feel like we have 2 very dynamic and impactful sounding voices. The timing sounds a lot better. Let's listen to it one more time from the top. I'll unmute all the vocals, and we'll move on to the next step.
Let us introduce it to the one time. Yeah, we the grandmasters. Feel it from my head to the floor. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R. One time. Yeah, we the grandmasters. And I feel it through to my core. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R. One time. Yeah, we the grandmasters.
Cool. Next thing we need to look at is top and tail fades. I left this one here at the end to use as the example. These bottom 3 tracks, timing. Ooh, I'm seeing a little funkiness here. Can't let that stay weird. Let's fix that one real quick. Much better. All right, now each one of these tracks, I think we did a really good job to make them sound more like one voice instead of 3 different voices, but it still has a little bit of that group vocals, gang vocals feel to it, and we're going to want to minimize that gang vocal feel because it kind of goes against the point of what we're trying to do with these edits here. So I'm just going to solo these. Let's take a listen.
One time. Yeah, we the grandmasters, and I feel it through to my core. Yeah.
That feels pretty good. What I've done is we can look at the settings here. We've got -7 volume on the lead, and then in relation to that, we've got -15 and a little bit of panning on those background vocals. It's bringing the volume down so that you're not getting them as up front, and then it's panning them a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right so that you're not getting as much of a center image, and that's helping them not feel so prominent. I think we can actually turn them down even more. I'm going to bring them down to like -18, -19, and I'm going to pan them out to 50 so that we're really getting them out of the center image, and then we're really turning them down in volume. Let's listen to that now.
One time. Yeah, we the grandmasters, and I feel it through to my core. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R.
Okay, now that's really sounding like just one voice. Last but not least, we're going to use some vocal effects here. So I'm going to go ahead and go to track. I'm going to create a new stereo aux input. Let's actually make 2 of them. Press create. Just to make things easy, we'll go ahead and use the default Pro Tools stuff. There's a lot of plugins that I like, but if all you have is like Deverb and Long Echo and stuff like that, there's definitely a lot you can do with those plugins to still get a great sound. Let's see what we've got for delay. I think it's called Mod Delay 3. That's the one. Awesome. Pop both of these open. Let's see. Do we have anything in the presets folder? Nope. That's all right. I think we're just going to use mod delay with no feedback in like an 1/8 note rhythm. I'm just going to use that to create a little bit of a slap back sound. Maybe we'll shorten it up to a a 16th note. Low pass filter, we'll drag that down a little bit to get rid of some of the high end because we don't want the echo to feel as bright and upfront as the lead vocal. Just kind of want it to feel like it's part of the sound of the room that we were in. Same thing for the reverb. I always like plates, small plates, maybe a medium plate, something around a second. I like to do the same thing with the low pass filter, kind of lo-fi reverbs. We can start sending to our effects. Reverb, and I'm going to hold my Alt key or Option key for Mac users, and I'm going to just click and drag this across all the tracks to create a duplicate of it. Awesome. Now on the second send, I'm going to press Echo and do the same thing. Hold the Alt key or the Option key and drag that down so that we've got individual echo control for each one of these tracks. And I'm going to start dragging this up until I can start to hear the reverb. Same rule as before. We don't want to overcook it. We just want to add something that has the ability to help impact it, but that isn't really noticed unless it were not to be there, unless it were gone.
One time, one time, one time. Yeah, we the grandmasters. Feel it from my head to the flow. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R.
Starting to hear it there, about -10.
One time, one time, one time. Yeah, we the grandmasters, and I feel it through to my core. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R.
And now when we get to like -5, it starts to feel like it's too much. So somewhere in between there.
One time. Yeah, we the one time, one time, one time. Yeah, we the grandmasters. Feel it from my head to the flow. Yeah, I'm a grand M.
Awesome. And now this is a pop song, but of course it's like rap vocals, and typically you wouldn't drench a rap verse in a lot of reverb, depending on the song. But in this case, I think we want like less is more. I think it's the echo that really is going to drive the sound. So let's click on the echo, open up the fader here, and I'm going to start dragging this up. Same rule applies. We want to hear that it's there, but just not so much that it's overbearing.
One time, one time, one time. Yeah, we the grandmasters. Feel it from my head to the flow. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R.
Okay, so we can definitely hear it at -12.
One time, one time, one time. Yeah, we the grandmasters, and I feel it through to my core. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R.
Definitely hearing it at -15. Let's try back at -18. Really didn't take a lot for the echo effect to start being heard.
One time, one time, one time. Yeah, we the grandmasters. Feel it from my head to the flow. Yeah, I'm a grand.
So somewhere around 18 seems to be good. -18 on the lead vocal. Depending on the settings of your plugin, depending on how loud your vocal is, that number may change. But the technique is get it to the point where you can definitely hear it and start to back it off until it starts to disappear and find somewhere in that mid-range that works for you. All right, now we've got these really quiet vocals here. I'll put it in stereo and hear both of the backing vocals at the same time without the lead.
One time, one time, one time. Yeah, we the grandmasters.
So the trick here is we're going to pan our reverb out to 100% on the track that goes a little bit to the left, and then 100% to the right on the track that's panned a little bit out to the right. And if we double check where our reverb was at on our lead vocal, we were at -7. Because these tracks are quieter, we want to use these for a little bit extra of the effects, because the dry sound that's duplicating the lead vocal is very quiet. So what did I say last time? -5, it felt like it was starting to be a little bit overbearing. So let's use that -5 number for the reverb send for both of these. Let's double check where the echo send was at on our lead vocal, -18. I remember saying that -15 felt like it started to be a little bit too much. So let's go there with the backing vocals. Boom, boom. Let's take a listen.
One time, one time, one time. Yeah, we the grandmasters. Feel it from my head to the flow. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R.
That's great. We get a lot of that vocal sound, vocal effect sound. Let's combine that with the lead, make sure we like how it sounds.
One time, one time, one time. Yeah, we the grandmasters. Feel it from my head to the floor. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R.
Awesome. I like how that sounds. I'm going to go ahead and copy those over to the secondary vocal so that both of the lead vocals in the chorus have the same effects send setup. Now let's solo all the lead vocals. Let's listen to them all together.
One time, one time, one time. Yeah, we the grandmasters. Feel it from my head to the floor. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R.
Awesome. Sounds really good. Doesn't sound overbearing. Let's mute the effects and just hear how it sounded before so we get some context.
Introduce it to the one time, one time, one time. Yeah, we the grandmasters. Feel it from my head to the floor. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R. One time, one time, one time.
Definitely makes a big difference when it's gone. But when it's there, it doesn't feel like it's reverb and echo. Again, it's just a little bit of spice. Let's hear it all together one time. One time, one time.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, let us introduce it to the. Dear ladies and gentlemen, yo, let us introduce it to the. Ladies and gentlemen, let us introduce it to the. One time, one time, one time. Yeah, we the grandmasters. Feel it from my head to the floor. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R. One time, one time, one time. Yeah, we the grandmasters, and I feel it through to my core. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R. Yeah, I'm a grand M-A-S-T-E-R. One time, one time, one time.
Awesome. There it is. That's the technique. When you're recording pop vocals and you need that impactful moment, multi-track 3 or more vocals, pan them accordingly. Add some ad-libs if you want to have a secondary voicing, a higher or a lower pitch version in the case of a rap song, or maybe that looks like some harmonies if you're singing. Strip the silence in between. The breaths need to be quieter. Get rid of vocals that are doubled, that are not supposed to be in an impactful moment, so that you can have that different dynamic between lyrics that are important and lyrics that are okay with just one single vocal. Use the keyboard focus in Pro Tools, as well as the B, the comma, and the period key to separate clips and to nudge the timing to the left or right so that your double tracks match the lead track. Crossfade clips that you've separated, adjust the volume and pan the doubled tracks so that they're supporting the lead vocal rather than sounding like additional voices. And then use effects sends and different volume levels and different panning settings between your main lead vocal that's in the middle and your two extra vocals that are on the left and the right, so that you can differentiate the distance and how impactful and upfront and sibilant those double tracks sound. Remember, we're just trying to recreate a single vocal performance and enhance it rather than feel like we've got this gang vocal or this group vocal feeling. And if you follow these steps, you're going to have a great result. Good luck. Happy producing. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And I'll see you next time.